I'll open the gate for you. Well, I was hopeful that would work, bringing the mother back in here, but it turns out once she gets back here, she's just trying to get the calf to follow her back out to the field. She's not really very interested in trying to feed it. In fact, I don't think the calf hardly nursed a drop, so I did bring a bottle for her. Let's see if she's interested in that. Okay, I'm sure you're gonna hate this until you realize that you love it. That's kind of a surprise. She did take some, but she doesn't really seem real eager to drink it, like she's real hungry. So it's very possible that the mother fed her more than I assumed she did, but it's kind of hard to say. You know, I also suspect that the milk comes out of a bottle much faster than it does out of an udder. So it could be that, you know, a calf that is used to nursing off of a cow, when it moves over to the bottle, it's like kind of too much all at once. So I think what we'll do, now that I've given her a little bit, we'll go ahead and give her her medicine, and then I'll try to give her the bottle again. And if she still just doesn't really want to take it, then we'll take a break from that until this evening. Well, I've got a variety of things on tap for today, so we better get started. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. You still got feeling. I'm giving her 2 7cc shots again this morning, but I would like to see if I can get her rolled over on her other side, you know, because I want to spread these out some. And I also thought that maybe I should just go ahead and address this, because usually you guys see me giving shots in the neck in accordance with quality assurance guidelines. Well, quality assurance guidelines are there for animals that are going into the food supply. So with this calf, if she even does survive, then it'll be a long time before she makes it to that part of her journey. But because in this case, it's unclear if that will even happen. You know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, let's just save her first, and then we'll worry about that stuff later. Gonna go this way though. Okay. Let's try that out. Try that out for a minute. Nope. Okay. So I know this probably does look encouraging, but I'm holding her up entirely. If I step away or back off, she'll go right down. But we do have her on her feet, and that's got to be worth something. And I'm not sure, you guys, you may not be able to see this. Oh, I do have another camera with me. I'll show you. She's standing over here picking hay out of the feeder, which, again, that gives you hope, right? Because if she really felt that bad or that stressed and scared about all this, I don't think she'd be sitting there trying to eat. Getting at her other side, I guess, is not really an option. Every time I get her flipped over, she just stands right up and flips back onto this side. So there's something about, you know, when you get her on that side, she's got a little bit of power, I guess, but oh, careful now. Easy to move. Okay. Well, look who showed up. Mother is here to see what's going on. I'm gonna open the gate and let her in here and just see what happens. So that's pretty much what she's been doing. The mother will just walk up close enough to where they see each other, and I know in her mind she's like trying to get the calf to follow her back out, which is obviously not going to happen. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, why not just leave the gates open and let the mother come and go as she pleases? Because it's not like the calf is going to go anywhere. And I thought about that, but I don't want to do that because I want the calf to stay here under the shade, and there's also hay in this feeder. So what I'm worried about is that a bunch of cows are going to come back in here and be fighting over this hay, and the chance of the calf getting injured even further or worse is present if we do that. So I think it's better to just keep the gates closed. We'll let the mother in periodically if she'll want to come in. But if this is just not successful today and tomorrow, then I'll probably just kind of give up on it and just feed the calf myself. Well, she got her medicine, she got her bottle, she got some hay, she got some water. She even got some physical therapy this morning. So I think for now, that's about all we can do with the little calf. You thought you weren't going to see me put any hay in the barn in this video. The yard is a little bit cleaner now. It'll be easier to maneuver around when I start bringing the rest of the loads. And it's got everything out of the way now, so I can kind of make plans of where I'm going to put what. Over here in the wing of the barn, I figure I've got room for about 26 more small bales. And I've been trying to do layers of 6, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends where I'm at on the roof. If there's a joist coming down, then a lot of times that 6th bale just won't fit up there. You can see I just barely squeaked this bale in there, but over here it just wouldn't work because it's a 2x12 coming down on the roof, and I just didn't have enough room to get it in there. When I was over there last, I think I counted 27 big bales left. So my plan is to try to put those in 2 rows right here. I can go 10 deep, so that'll get me 20. If I've got 2 rows, I'll have 7 left over, and I'll either just try to squeeze them in here on the end, or maybe make like a 3rd row that's short or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out when I get them over here. And then that will leave the rained on bales. I think there's like 50 or 60 of those. Maybe there's more, I can't remember now, but I'll be able to get about 25 to maybe 30 of them right here with these others. And then with the rest of them, my plan is to just get like 2 or 3 wide here and just start piling them up on the edge of the property. Kind of took me a while to figure out that I could do this, because in years past this wouldn't have been an option, because I needed all the room that I could get to be able to back up to the loading alley. But now that I've curved the loading alley out a little bit, I don't need as much room to back the truck and trailer up to it. So I think this will work. I'm down here in the backfield now because I want to get this hot wire taken down. It is dividing these 2 paddocks, which I plan to cut and bale for hay in about a week or so. And I think I've said this with the first 2 paddocks that I've cut, and that is that I think this will be the last one that I try to do this year. But I really mean it this time, because pretty soon I'm gonna have to bring the heifers and the cows home from the heifer pasture. And once I do that, I think I'm gonna have too much grazing pressure to really be able to hold out these paddocks to cut them for hay. And of course, as we move into fall and the weather starts to change, the grass will slow down and it'll make it all that much harder for these paddocks to recover anyway. But I think I can still sneak in this one last little cutting. There's a hole there. I think this will be a good one to cut because there is a lot of tonnage out here actually. And when you look across it, you might think, oh, it's nothing but smut grass. That's all that sort of lighter colored tan grass that you see. And yeah, when you look at it from a distance, it does look that way. But then when you look down at your feet, what you'll notice is that, yes, there is smut grass growing out here, but up underneath it, there's a lot of Dallas grass and desirable forage out here as well. Oh man, what is she on here? Find something? Uh-oh, you already ate it. Now the funnest part of cleaning up fence is winding up the reels, of course. And then last thing I'm going to do with some of these fiberglass posts that I took down is mark where the valves are at up here, because this is the furthest paddock on the property. That means that I don't have to leave a lane out for the cows to walk through because they won't ever be back here. So that means that I can cut all the way to the end of the field. For example, in this last paddock that I cut, you see I stopped cutting right here at the hot wire line because the cows were still having to walk through this lane here to get to these paddocks that I'm standing in now. But now we don't have to worry about that because we're at the end of the field. I know there's a valve here somewhere, but if I can't barely see it on foot, there's no chance I'm going to see it in the tractor cab. There it is. So if you can't tell, I've been pretty happy with the way this pasture hay project has been going this year. Although I do feel like it's kind of just been like shooting from the hip, you know, and I'm just cutting a paddock here, cutting one there, just wherever I can make it work. Next year, now that I'm going into the year with all the equipment that I need, I think that I can plan this out and be a little more strategic about how I cut these paddocks, and I think that it'll go even better. And speaking of next spring, I'm actually pretty excited about it because what's kind of really been happening over the last year or so is all these pieces are starting to come together to where I can finally execute a plan that I've been wanting to try for a while. It starts with the round bales. You notice the 6-foot round bales are all the 3-way forage mix hay. That hay is made up of oats, beardless wheat, and beardless barley, all 3 of which will reseed themselves from the bale. Now I'll be able to take my bale and roller that I built last winter, and I'll be able to roll those bales out in the pasture here in the fall when I'm feeding the cows out in the field. By doing that, I can very intentionally spread out where I put the hay, where the seeds are going to go down, where the manure is going to go down, and the plan is to equally spread that out across this field. Now what I expect this to look like come spring will be streaks of forage mix hay growing out here, and in between them will be whatever else is out in the field already. And if memory serves, a lot of what that is clover. The clover comes on pretty heavy in the springtime when the weather is cooler. It's still out here now if you look for it, but it doesn't grow quite as aggressively as it does then. And so with any luck at all, what will end up being out here is this mixture of like oats, wheat, barley, clover, some of the grass, probably some ryegrass and other things like that that I think when you put it all together should make some pretty decent hay. Now typically in the spring I don't bring the cows into this back pasture until most of them have had their calves, because if anybody's in trouble it's a lot easier to get them up into the working corral out of one of those two front pastures. So I usually hold off grazing this anyway, and it's not uncommon for it to get to the point where everything heads out and the cattle don't really like to graze it anyway. So this plan, I think if everything goes the way that I'm hoping that it will, it should work out pretty good. Now there's probably about 1,000 different variables that have to turn out just right for all things to go according to plan, but that's what I'm shooting for, and I finally got all of the equipment to do it. You look like you want to ride. All right, hop in there. Who's got who trained here, I wonder? Sometimes I'm not so sure. Ugh. Well, what do we have here? A giant wooden crate from Mech-Max. Let's get this in the shop and see what it is. Oh, baby. Look at that. Well, Christmas came early this year. I don't know if you can tell under all the plastic what this is. It is a metal lathe. This is the biggest one that I could find before it jumps up to 220. And this thing, now that I see it in person, it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. It's got an 11-inch swing and 30 inches between centers, so I think that'll pretty much handle anything that I need to do. This thing is a giant. I think the crate is 5 feet wide and it pretty much touches it on both sides. The shipping weight is listed at, I think, close to 600 pounds. So this is not what you would call a mini lathe. You see a lot of those online. I probably wouldn't call it a full-size lathe either, but it is somewhere in the middle. I just can't stop staring at this thing. If you've been with the channel for a while, you know that this is a tool that I've wanted for a really long time. I can't wait to get it out of the box and start making some chips with it. For those that are into this sort of thing, this is a Mech-Max 1130V, and it has a DRO, a digital readout. I do have some experience with a metal lathe from several years ago, but I never used one with a DRO. So that's gonna be something that I'm gonna have to learn, but I think once I get that figured out, that you know, you can really raise the accuracy and the repeatability of your work. So anyway, not gonna uncrate it and set it up today, but it's coming soon, and get ready because the capabilities of what I can make in this shop just increased tenfold. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.